We are inventors, we are scientists, engineers, and entrepreneurs. We are working to make 10x progress against the world's biggest, toughest problems.
My name is Andressa Lacerda. I am the VP Operations of Synex Medical. I have a PhD in cell and molecular biology.
Bryn Knox, I lead finance at Benchside. We're out of Toronto, and we're using AI to revolutionize preclinical research.
My name is Mike Thibodeau. I lead our Azure segment for SMBs and growth here in Canada at Microsoft.
Awesome here. I'm a venture investor at a fund based in Toronto called Whittington Ventures.
My name's Hia and I'm 15 years old, and I've always been really fascinated by the intersection between health and tech. When I was younger, I was very antibiotic dependent and I would get a lot of infections. And I also simultaneously learned about my mom's not so great pregnancy experiences and how she actually had to take iron injections every day towards the end of her pregnancy to balance out her hemoglobin levels. During her pregnancy, she didn't know too much about having a balanced and healthy diet to ensure the appropriate growth and development of the baby. Not meeting these needs led to her having anemia, one of the resulting effects of malnutrition, something with nutritional deficiencies, affecting almost half of women today, and with pregnant women, 2/3 of them overall. And through our research and work, we found that the most effective way to counter nutritional deficiencies on a public health scale is to fortify staple foods in a shelf-stable way. Alma Therapeutics is using nano-encapsulation and powered supplementation to ensure each phase in our circle of life is healthy. So with this, we can enable targeted nutrition, and by 2040, we can prevent up to 25 million children getting malnutrition because of this malabsorption.
I'm Yamin. I work with medical diagnosis with AI. You see, the levels of carbon dioxide currently in our atmosphere has not been this high in nearly 800,000 years. In fact, over the course of this day alone, 5,000 people will die because of intoxicated water. It's because of us. We are all inhabitants of a world destined and filled with pollution, disease, and darkness. But fortunately, we can prevent that with Project Helios, a revolutionary carbon capture utilization company helping to capture and convert carbon emissions into usable electricity before it enters the atmosphere. The first method involves using solar cells for carbon capture, recently developed at the University of Illinois at Chicago. And the second is using a hybrid sodium carbon dioxide system, which helps convert the captured carbon into usable electricity. One day, some kid on the other side of the world won't have to lose a loved one because of intoxicated air or water.
Hi, my name is Risha, and for the past couple of months, I've been diving deep into AI for disease diagnosis. Imagine still using a rotary dial phone that was invented back in the 1900s, yet here we are using the same outdated treatment for type 1 diabetes. Every day, I see my grandpa injecting himself with insulin in order to literally survive. And that's the harsh reality of 436 million other type 1 diabetic patients. That's why Metanoia offers an alternative solution, and we do this by letting your body heal itself on its own by recreating the biological systems responsible for insulin production. So we do this through 3D bioprinting, nanosensors, and in vivo networking. And so currently insulin therapy costs $96,180 over a span of 10 years. With Metanoia, we can decrease that by 72.1%, offering patients a more cost-effective solution. We need to work together so that we can improve the quality of life of millions of people. We need to make sure that people like my grandpa can live a life to the fullest. We can do better with Metanoia.
So I'm Mohammed. I'm a 17-year-old TKS innovator. In the next 30 years, there will be 9 billion people living on our planet, and the global food production should increase by a rate of 70% for developed countries and 100% for developing countries. So a good solution that was presented was the vertical farm, which has a big advantage over conventional farming, but they also have certain problems. Vertical farms are large scale and they are labor intensive, not energy efficient. Also, in most cases, you need to use artificial light. Our vertical farms are different because they are small in size and they can neatly fit into any house, condo, and apartment, and even restaurants, which give them a distributive property, which means that we can have a bunch of these vertical farms in every building in the city. The vertical farms are smart because they are connected to a mobile app through IoT blockchain sensors that make them manageable. So our vision is to create a transparent network of efficient vertical farms that gives everyone access to fresh and nutritious food without any waste. Say hello to a cleaner and more transparent agriculture.
my name is Anika. I'm super interested in alternative energy. A couple of weeks ago was Earth Day, with millions of people posting about their love for our planet on Instagram. But despite this excitement and ambitious goals like the Paris Agreement, this made me wonder, is all this hype even justified by action or headed towards catastrophe? And one major culprit that my team and I identified is methane. Attributable to landfills, agriculture, and the oil and gas industry, methane emissions have risen by over 2.5 times since the pre-industrial period. If we don't address it now, methane will actually counteract any progress we make on our climate goals because it's 84 times more potent than CO2 during its first 20 years in our atmosphere. So to fulfill our vision where global warming is no longer a threat, we're building ZO4, a direct air capture plant aimed at eliminating atmospheric methane. So the way that we do this is essentially with a huge vacuum and a giant sponge. This sponge being zeolites. And they're very reactive with methane, meaning that we can use it to capture and then oxidize methane to CO2. In doing so, we're actually reducing its global warming potential by 90%. And this will effectively buy us back our precious time to act on this crisis. We just can't afford to stay stagnant while climate change worsens by the day. You're tired, I'm tired, we're all tired of hearing these empty promises each and every Earth Day. And ZO4 can be the first step to catalyze change.
Hey, my name is Francesca, and I'm passionate about all things biotech, and there are 38,000 cancer deaths every year in Canada alone. And our current healthcare system is built to manifest these types of issues. And really, we don't even have a healthcare system. Instead, we have a sick care system. The entire system is reactive when it needs to be proactive. What if there was a way to have an at-home healthcare monitoring system that can not only help you maintain your health, but also detect diseases? So Dore can accomplish all of this through sweat analysis in a wearable system. As sweat is one of the major methods of excretion in the body, by analyzing these biomarkers found in sweat, Sador has the capability to detect cancer right at stage 1. Just think about the lives it could save and the families that it could protect from pain, like my own. But this technology isn't stopping here. There are more than 800 unique proteins and 32,000 peptides that we can analyze in sweat. We can detect diseases like tuberculosis, Parkinson's, diabetes, and even mental illnesses like schizophrenia. We want to be leading the charge in the creation of a healthcare system that will be truly proactive and put your health first.
My name is Ellie. What if there was a way that we could flip the tables for all people with paralysis? We want to pioneer a future full of hope and recovery. Now, we will develop a 2-step treatment to reverse the spinal cord injury and paralysis that will give over 27 million people globally a new chance at life. We use transcription factors and retroviruses to genetically engineer the cells that make up this impenetrable wall into neurons. So not only does this get rid of the wall, but it also adds more healthy neurons into the central nervous system. Inserting IN1 antibodies into the area of injury, like magnets, they bind to these inhibitors and they neutralize them. So what Revalsys aims to do is to combine these two relatively new methods together through 2 injections into the spinal cord to target the 2 biggest obstacles in treating paralysis. After doing our analysis, we strive to reverse paralysis because the future of innovation is closer than you think.
Hey, I'm Aditya and I'm a 15-year-old working on a symptom diagnosis chatbot with AI. None of this matters because we'll all probably be dead. The murderer is climate change. Multiple studies predict that we as a species have less than 30 years left. 2030 is when we reach mass extinctions, global food shortages, and natural disasters more powerful than ever. Atherma is pioneering next generation, scalable nuclear power with thermoelectricity, ending energy emissions and global warming. The solution, next-gen small modular reactors. We achieve this by leveraging thermoelectricity, or thermoelectric generators. The way these work is that they'll heat one side and cool another, imbalancing charges to make electricity. We're using a specialized layer of graphene nanoribbons with a predicted merit of 6, 3 times more current methods. Atherma's innovative approach does 3 things for us. 1, improving efficiency 3 times over, reducing construction costs by 50%, and combined, both of these reduce the per kilowatt cost 6 times over, making this finally competitive with fossil fuels. We're aiming to have our first products online in the next 5 years. Then we're turning our eyes to the $219 billion energy industry. This is about the legacy that we leave behind for future generations. This is about saving your grandkids, us, and the future of the human species. So, let's take our future into our own hands, shall we? Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you for your presentation. That was great. We work with glucose monitoring, so it's right up my alley. So very interesting. Great idea, but just be mindful of time.
Thanks, Risha.
Great presentation, Risha.
Okay, thanks, Mohammed.
Great presentation. Love it. I think it's a great idea. You're solving a great problem.
Okay, thanks, Anika.
Thanks, Anika.
Thank you for the presentation. It's still very interesting, but definitely dig down deeper.
Thanks so much, Francesca.
I actually have a lot of issues with sweat. The idea is awesome. It is a great idea. And if it could be possible, that would be awesome. That sweat just cannot, in my opinion, differentiate it. Maybe one day there will be technology, maybe you will be the one to do that, to be able to dig down deeper. It is a great idea, you're right. Like, it's definitely a moonshot. If that was possible, sure, I'll go out of business. No, they all come work for you.
Perfect, thanks so much, Lily. I actually think you did a really good job there of making that like personal. I could see you just like looking, even like the way you use your hands. I felt like I was actually just listening to you just drop knowledge on all of us.
You really know your stuff. I am blown away. Like that, you know your stuff. I don't know, I feel proud. I don't know. You even talked about retrovirus. I love retroviruses.
I loved how you had the slide in the beginning with your team. So great job on that. It'd be
Great presentation. I think it's an amazing idea to solve the power energy issue. I think Bill Gates would be a fan.
I agree. Nuclear is a good way to go.
I think the concept's really interesting, and obviously stigma is always going to be a thing you face. But sometimes like that's kind of irrelevant. Like you're trying to change the world, so like you gotta stare stigma in the face and go around it.
Shows when you do the work and when you've done your homework on your solution, and watching even the previous iterations of your presentation, your technical depth truly does shine.
And our People's Choice Award goes to Atherma, a DTS team. Congratulations.
We're going to move to our Google X Award.
The judges, we thought Sidor. We thought you were really pushing it and really shooting for Mars. Congrats there.
I think that's so important, is simplifying it so that technical audiences and generalist knowledges can follow the principles. And I think we all unanimously agreed that Team Revalysis, you guys did a great job in terms of communicating very complex ideas with simplicity. So great work.
The last award we're giving out, the best overall winner. Andressa, you can announce our final award.
This team did an amazing job, not only making the science more accessible, but also addressing a larger addressable market, and very well done on the pitch as well. So that goes to Atherma. Congratulations.
Well done, Aditya and the whole team collectively.
One thing I just want to remind you is to not lose this 10x thinking, not lose this ability to really think outside the box. The way that we move everything forward is having those sort of crazy ideas, but then of course, backing them up with research and science and economic incentives.